Welcome to the Billionaire Mindset, your 30-day journey to thinking like a billionaire. Now you can just watch this video, or if you want to sign up for the entire series for free and get the bonus PDF companion calendar, check the link in the description below. Today is day 18, and we're going to learn how you can learn like a billionaire. Enjoy.
I think that the way that we currently do education is wrong, and when you see something like the Khan Academy and so forth, I think that's probably going in the right direction. I mean, generally you want education to be like as close to a video game as possible, like a good video game. Like, you do not need to tell your kid to play video games. They will play video games on autopilot all day. So if you can make it interactive and engaging, then you can make education far more compelling and far easier to do. So I think that's how it should be, and it shouldn't be that you've got like these grades where people move in lockstep, and so everyone goes through, goes like normally, we'll go through English, math, science, and so forth from like 5th grade to 6th grade to 7th grade, like it's an assembly line. But people are not objects on an assembly line. That's a ridiculous notion. People learn and are interested in different things at different paces. So you really want to disconnect the whole grade level thing from the subjects. Allow people to progress at the fastest pace that they can or are interested in each subject.
There's this culture in Silicon Valley that kind of makes startups seem glamorous. And I never really believed that, right? I never had a goal of starting a startup, and my goal when I realized that I had a company was to get it to be a good company as quickly as possible, right? And kind of get out of what you'd call the like risky startup phase where you are just like constantly about to die, and where you could get to a point where you can actually like do some interesting things and make a lot more interesting bets. And so I don't know, I never read a lot of the literature on this. And I mean, maybe if I had, then I wouldn't have made so many mistakes. So I don't know if learning from me is the right way to go on this. But I mean, but it did, I think
your model must have come from somewhere, though, even if it was unintentional, right? Like, were you influenced by Peter Thiel or Sean?
Well, yes, I was influenced by all these people once I met them. I hadn't really heard of Peter Thiel before.
I'm
Sean
talking about like,
me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I mean, he was massively influential on my thinking, right? I mean, like a lot of the early lessons that I took on how to think about strategy came from Peter and Sean. And I did pay a lot of attention when I was growing up to Microsoft. I grew up, using, Windows 3.1 and then Windows 95, and I just thought that those were like the most unbelievable things. And
in a sense, they are.
Yeah, they really were awesome, right? Well, I don't know if you meant that positively, but I did. And I thought, building this ecosystem was really neat, and that kind of inspired me, right? In the way that they built a platform, I kind of thought, okay, well, maybe one day, the tools that I'm building can be part of a broader ecosystem as well. So many things go wrong when you're starting a company, and often I think people ask, what mistakes should you avoid making? And my answer to that question is don't even bother trying to avoid mistakes, because you're going to make tons of mistakes, right? And the important thing is actually learning quickly from whatever mistakes you make and not giving up. Right, and I mean, there are things every single year of Facebook's existence that could have killed us or made it so that it just seemed like moving forward and making a lot of progress just seemed intractable, but you just kind of bounce back and you learn, and nothing is impossible. You just have to kind of keep running through the walls.
I would say reading is the strongest signal for success in the future that I've ever seen. It is the strongest. I got my first job in radio when I was 16 years old, because I've been broadcasting since I was 16 years old. But my first job I got because I was a great reader. When you are a great reader, you can articulate and speak and command the English language in ways that other people cannot. And people think you're a lot smarter than you are, lots of times, because you're a great reader. Have you ever met a person who was a great reader when they were young who was not successful? You never. It is the absolute best foundation ever in life.
You cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure. To invent, you need to experiment. And if you know in advance that it's going to work, it is not an experiment. And so that's a very important thing. They are inseparable twins, failure and invention. And so you have to be willing to do that. And it's embarrassing to fail. It's always embarrassing to fail. But you have to say, no, that's not how this works. If I said to you, you have a 10% chance with a particular decision, a 10% chance of a 100x return, you should take that bet every time. But you're still going to be wrong 9 out of 10 times. And it's going to feel bad 9 out of 10 times. And with technology, the outcomes, the results can be very long-tailed. The payoff can be very asymmetric, which is why you should do so much experimentation. Everybody knows that if you swing for the fences, you hit more home runs, but you also strike out more. But with the baseball, that analogy doesn't go far enough, because with baseball, no matter how well you connect with the ball, you can only get 4 runs. The success is capped at 4 runs. But in business, every once in a while, you step up to the plate and you hit the ball so hard, you get 1,000 runs. And so when you have that kind of asymmetric payoff, and one at bat can get you 1,000 runs, it encourages you to experiment more. It's the right business decision to experiment more. It's also better for your customers. Customers like the successful experiments.
Certainly during the time I was at Harvard, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. The idea that software was this field that the opportunity was unbelievable. That became more obvious during the 3-year period I was here. But my dad had been a lawyer. I thought of mathematics, like doing well in the Putnam. That was the coolest thing. And the computer software, I didn't think those people were as smart as the math people. So it's like, well, am I going to go into the easy field or this really hard field? But anyway, math was fantastic. When I finally picked and decided to go do Microsoft, then I got into a period from age 19 to about 40, where I wasn't able to look at the latest on how tornadoes work or how mitochondria work. I was pretty monomaniacal. And when I was able to ask Steve, this is the year 2000, Steve Ballmer, he mistakenly graduated, but then he started at But I was trying to hire him, but his parents told him you're supposed to graduate, which was fine. But then he started at Stanford Business School, and he was in his first year, and I thought, well, this is perfect. I'll get him to drop out of Stanford Business School. So in a certain sense, he is a dropout. And he was very key to the success of Microsoft. I mean, he knew a lot of things. But during that period, I didn't get to do much. At Harvard, I took all these courses because it was just so amazing that people were interested in talking about them. And I have to say, I never went to a lecture during reading period or anything, because the courses that I was actually signed up for, I finally started to work on those. So I was in Hillel the minute it would open to the minute it would close during reading period, trying to catch up on that other set of courses. So people say I'm a dropout, which is literally true. But because I like college courses, the online college courses, there's a company called The Learning Company that I buy tons and tons of their stuff, and I do at least 4 or 5 courses a year. In a sense, I like going to college more than anyone. So I've sort of made sure my job, certainly post-Microsoft, that I get to spend my time meeting with scientists, learning new things, seeing what the hard problems are, in some cases giving money to people to take on those very, very hard problems.
I should mention one thing about reading. It was at the library here at Columbia that I wish I spent probably more time than any other student. I lived there practically. But I pulled the book out there, happened to be Who's Who in America, and it told me something about my professor, Benjamin Graham, and then I looked up and I went to the library and I said, I want to learn more about this because I learned this over here. That changed my whole life. We own Geico now because of that librarian directing me to some other book and then following through on that. It's the chance. I read about 1/5 the pace that Bill does, but I still spend 5 or 6 hours a day reading. I mean, you can learn so much. I particularly love biography. Just to be able to live the lives of these people that have been so extraordinary, the lessons and the discouragements they face, just everything about it. So you can't get enough of reading.
Now I'm going through and teaching myself neural networks and doing the same thing with machine learning and GANs and this and that, because AI is going to have more of an impact than the internet did. AI plus new types of chipsets plus 5G is going to change things far more than we've ever seen anything change. And understanding where and how to apply it is going to be critical, but just as important, knowing how to segregate and separate the bullshit, right, is as important, because every email y'all are about to send me is going to say, I have this AI solution and we're using algorithms. Yeah, of course you are, right? And then what? What really makes you different? What really sets you apart? But if I didn't do that work, if I didn't sit down and do the AWS machine learning tutorials, if I didn't go on YouTube and take, the NYU Introduction to Neural Networks or whatever, I'm not going to know it, I'm not going to be able to apply it, and I'm not going to be able to be first. And that's fun. That's fun. Knowing I get to kick the ass of some 22-year-old NYU graduate, that's awesome,
The first question you're going to get asked when you go to apply for a job, whether it's now or some point in the future, is what did you learn? What did you do? What skills did you add during the pandemic of 2020? And I think it's imperative to anybody looking to get a job to really push themselves forward to do better than their parents, to really place a focus on learning. I think you'd agree, Mike, and anybody watching, that one of the greatest skills that we all can have in the business world is a thirst for knowledge, just being excited about learning and knowing how to learn. And this really is the best opportunity ever for people to add to their skills, whether it's taking a Coursera class or, in the past I would have said reading a lot of books, but now having learned from my kids, going on YouTube and, watching tutorials and watching videos on various subjects. I learned how to write a three-layer JavaScript neural network on YouTube. And so there's a unique opportunity now for you to add skills, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence that are going to be in great demand that most people have not yet learned, because it's so recent that it's become really applicable.
The winner in AI controls the world. Yeah. China puts together a future plan saying, whoever dominates in AI, and they're subsidizing, Tencent, Alibaba, etc.
Yeah,
right. And
that's right.
They know it's a race. It is a race. We cut our Office of Technology and Science to one person who was an assistant to Peter Thiel. That's where we stand. So when we talk about infrastructure jobs, robots are built in Germany. And they're getting bought by Chinese companies in some respects, and I think some Japanese companies bought as well. We don't build robots here very well, right? I just invested in my first robotics company, High Robotics, that puts robots into companies. They're in Kansas City, I think it is now. But they lease and rent and sell robots into all these different types of circumstances to replace people. Right? But I had to learn. I'm not saying it's a good thing or bad thing. It's going to happen with or without me, but I wanted to learn what was going on. Those building up a robotics industry here, investing in our AI industry here, that's the new infrastructure. Yeah. Because if we don't do it and China or Russia win those wars, we're SOL. Right. We're out of luck, right? And so when we talk about the price of assets going up, if you're hiring, if you're talking about intellectual assets, if you're hiring, like we were just saying, the price is skyrocketing. People are, Montreal has become the center of the universe for computer vision. It's not US-based schools that are dominating any longer in those areas. We've got a lot of smart kids in MIT, all different schools, right? And kids are starting to realize it's a place for them to go. And I'm out there telling people the first trillionaire is going to come from somebody who comes up with something really unique in AI.
Today, the 18 founders of Alibaba, a lot of people think they are legendary. So I'm like, wow, you're Alibaba founders. You must be super good at it. Honestly, most of us cannot find a job in the early days. We're not that smart. None of us graduate from a great university. But the thing is that we are ready to learn. we believe in the future. If we work together, if we will learn, if we improve, we'll be there. I told them for the first year, everybody forget about that you will be VP, vice president, right? You will always be a tiny manager in your life. Because if we're successful, people we hire, they will be smarter than us. If we only hire people who are stupid than us, then we'll be in trouble, right? So when we hire people who are smarter than us, the company will grow, and you will be happy because this is the mission that we have. So I would say there's no best people in the world that is ready for you. The best people is always, you find the right people, working together, training him, developing him, and he training you, then you have a chance to build a team. We faced a lot of challenges, but I'm sure Alibaba is going to face more challenges. We worry every day. When I was young, when company was young, we thought, well, what if when Alibaba become that big, my life will be easier. Then now the companies the bigger the company, the more problems I have. So while you are still small company, enjoy it. You will never experience the happiness of operating a small company any life when it's going to be too big. You have so much headaches, so many things happening. And people say, Jack, there are a lot of books about you, but there's none of the books I write myself. If there's one book I want to write in the future, it's called Alibaba 1001 Mistakes. We made so many mistakes. We had so many troubles. Believe it or not, China built up e-commerce company, built up an internet-related company. No internet connection at that time, no credit cards, no delivery system. So we meet problems all the time. It's not easy, but we tell ourselves, we will be successful until we make 10,000 mistakes. We will be successful if we survive in any crisis. So when crisis came, we know it's a challenge. Everybody start to be united. We solve the challenge, then we complain each other. Before we solve the problem of the crisis, we should not complain. So I have a problem in HR, I have a problem in financing, I have a problem in technology, I have a problem everywhere. Tell me. So that's why I become a mentor in entrepreneurs program in China. A lot of entrepreneurs have questions. When I listen to their questions, I say, oh my God, I have this problem too. So I would say we have gone through almost more than 90% of the problems that any entrepreneur, 90% of the problems that any entrepreneurs have met. This is what we feel proud. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell my kids, my grandchildren, it's not the thing we feel proud we made Alibaba. It's so many mistakes that we overcome, so many challenges we experience that make me feel proud. Life is about experience. So when you become entrepreneur, don't worry about the competitors. Don't worry about the mistakes. Don't worry about the challenges. Go through it. That's the great fun part of your business, of your experience. And then you got a courage, you got a wisdom, you got a team follow you.
Whatever your field, volunteer to take on some new assignments, even if they are outside your comfort zone. Take the initiative on your own to learn and develop new skills and to build contacts with people who can help you down the road. When you have learned enough, let me put it this way. I know of no Nobel Prize winner who has stopped studying. And in the information economy, everyone in both white-collar and blue-collar jobs will have to keep deepening their knowledge and adapting to technological change.
Assembling a crew of people who are very smart, very fast learners was kind of the key to a success in a startup, as opposed to trying to get someone who had if they had 10 years experience doing something, that's great. But the more fundamental characteristic is, would they learn fast on the new problems and the new challenges?
Yeah, no, it always feels wrong to be anti-experience, but the place where it can backfire is if the experience makes you think that you know everything.
Yes.
And so it's, again, it's important to know things, and it's important to be open to learning more. And in theory, experience is a plus. In practice, it's often a bit of a minus, because people are less open to learning new things, or they're more set on doing a particular job. In the context of a startup, which is always very tricky, where you have small numbers of people, and people need to be very flexible about the roles, and the roles change as the company gets built.
Wisdom acquisition was a moral duty. It's not something you do just to advance in life. Wisdom acquisition is a moral duty. And there's a corollary to that proposition, which is very important. It means that you're hooked for lifetime learning. And without lifetime learning, you people are not going to do very well. You are not going to get very far in life based on what you already know. You're going to advance in life by what you're going to learn after you leave here. If you take Berkshire Hathaway, which is certainly one of the best regarded corporations in the world, and it may have the best long-term investment record in the entire history of civilization. The skill that got Berkshire through one decade would not have sufficed to get it through the next decade with the achievements made. Without Warren Buffett being a learning machine, continuous learning machine, the record would have been absolutely impossible. The same is true at lower walks of life. I constantly see people rise in life who were not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they are learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up. And boy, does that habit help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you.
People should be studying the most successful companies in the world, not individuals. Don't worry about Dave or Gary or Tony or Grant. What are successful people doing? You know, one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life was tracking people that were doing better than me. So what? Like I made so many dumbass decisions because Dave did it. Or The Millionaire Next Door, that book. I don't want to be the millionaire next door. I want to know what Jeff Bezos is doing. I want to know what the boys at Google are doing, okay? Why does a guy like Mark Zuckerberg go from college dorm room to one of the richest people on the planet? That's who we should be studying. And don't listen to everybody else, because those people have financial freedom to the point to where they can do anything they want. Like, you cannot mess up some of these people's situation. They couldn't screw it up if they wanted to. So the 10X rule it says, hey, look, you want to scale to a point to where you have the life you deserve. It's not about the money you want or the money you need. Scale your business so you can walk away from it and money never stops taking care of you and your family. You don't need to study 27 different Warrens. You study one Warren, you're probably going to be good. Most of us, because of Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, we're listening to so many different people that people do nothing. This is the new crisis of our era. People are doing nothing, not because they're lazy, because they have data that is conflicting. So if you listen to Dave says buy a house, then you listen to Grant says that's stupid, you're not going to do anything. And if you're never going to buy any real estate, hey, go ahead and buy one house. Yeah, you're going to regret it later, and you're going to be like, I wish I'd have done what Cardone said. But you got to do something. And what you don't want to do is listen to God and the devil, because then you get stuck in purgatory and you don't have any fun at all.
Training. If you're not going to train, then put a sign on your desk, I quit learning a long time ago, and see how many people want to buy from you. Tell your family, go home and tell your wife and your kids, I quit learning, I quit reading, I quit studying, I quit training, I can't get any better. Put on there, done. I'm finished. I'm in retirement early. I'm going to purgatory. I'm going to wait it out, cross my fingers, and hope they bring me to sales heaven. Look, you're done if you don't train, okay? Now, I know you know this. You've heard it. I hate to tell you this. My boy McGregor, Conor McGregor or McGregor? My boy Conor McGregor, okay? I went and saw him fight in New York. I went and saw him fight for one reason, because I saw him say, I'm not the best. This isn't about talent. It's because I'm obsessed. I out-train everyone else. I have to win so bad, I train. Look, if you're not training, that says something about your obsession or lack of obsession with winning. I want you to win. I know your wife or your husband, your spouse, your family members, your kids, your mom and dad want you to win at the next level, no matter what they tell you. Even if they tell you you're doing great, pat you on the back, you know the truth. You know the truth. The only way to win is to train. The only way to win is to read. The only way to win is to learn more, listen more, learn something new. Look, we're in a time like we've never been before. Technologies come and go faster than people do. Things are changing like this, whether it's video you're using or social media or Snap or short videos or videos that disappear or videos that stay or text messaging that you can create to push and market and brand yourself, called text messaging, which I've been using a lot. Look, the world's changing. And if you're saying to yourself, I'm too old to learn that, well then guess what? You're too old to learn that. If you can't learn anything new, just put, I'm ripe and I'm about to fall off the tree and nobody's gonna want me. Look, man, you gotta train every single day like your life depends on it. Train every single day. I am here today. I own these 4 companies that I own, the studio, my reputation, everything is because when I was 25 years old to when I was 30 years old, every single day, I trained watching video every day. I'd watch the video, I'd walk in, and then I would role play, and then we would do a sales meeting every single day.
Explain how you went from a salesman who was in it and hated it to then, you moved on and became self-employed, and then you were speaking about sales and you're like a sales expert. So that's what, 20 years in between or 10 years?
Yeah, no, there was maybe 25. By the time I'm 26, I'm the top 1% of all salespeople in the auto industry. I didn't really know what that meant, but it was important to me that I was very good at what I was doing now. Now I was in. I went from hating a job in car sales. I remember going out with this girl and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm a car salesman. And she got that look on her face like, oh my God, that's worse than a man. I mean, and I had this terrible thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get great at it. I started studying sales every day. I started recording interviews. Like literally, you'd come in to buy a car from me, and I hired my mom. My mom was 70 years old at the time, and I hired my mom, and I said, you sit over there and you take notes.
Really?
And watch her. Watch when I lose her. Watch what happens, and we're going to debrief at the end of the deal. And I'm going to see what's working and what's not. I'm recording myself, videoing myself. I'm using every little piece of technology 30 years ago I can to find out, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And what I was doing, I didn't know it then, but I was basically codifying sales. I was learning. What does it mean when I say I'm going to think about it? When is that real? When is it not? What does it mean when it says the price is too high? When's that real? When it's not? And I started codifying and writing, taking notes, keeping all this information. I didn't know this would happen, but 5 years later, I'm out on the road, knocking on doors, selling a new way to sell things.
I'm going to save money. This is what you hear. If you look on the internet, how do I make money? First thing you got to do is you got to save money. What do you hear the politicians say? The middle class. I'm here to save it. What if there is no middle class and it was just made up to keep the people civil? See, that's how you're going to play this game. You got to be available. People have to know you. Don't talk to strangers. Strangers got everything you want, man. Everything you want, a stranger's got it. Your friends ain't got nothing. Right? If it's up to your friends, you're done. You're like, oh, my friends are broke. I'm 25 years old. Everybody around me was broke, okay? My mama was scared. Every time, my mama, Tuesday, she's clipping coupons. That was the reason to get the newspapers. The coupons are coming. She would sit there and clip them, man. She had them in the little box. I learned that for 16 years. I watched my mom do that. For 16 years, my mom would tell me, hey, Grant, turn those lights off. Turn those lights off. Me and my twin brother, turn those lights off. From across the house, she could hear me walk out of my bedroom 75 feet away and say, hey, turn those damn lights off. I told you, okay?
Twin brothers, okay? I'm 16 years old, my twin brother. My mom said, when you guys go pee, do it together. Saves water. Saves water, right? Okay? When my mom fed me, because I had a great mom. Unbelievable. How many of you had great parents? Give your parents a great hand, huh? Good. Hey, just because they were great parents doesn't mean they weren't confused. Right? Because my mama was confused, man. My mom did not know how to make money. She had no education. She had no ability. She had never held a job. She did not know how to get money. So what she had to do was protect the little bit of money she had. Sell or be sold. She was sold on conservation. Reduce risk. Don't spend. Contract. Protect it. Defend it. You understand? Diversify. Have a lot of little bets all over the place, okay? Lots of little bets. You should never have a lot of bets all over the place until you're extremely wealthy. When you're trying to get wealthy, you want to go all in and it not be a bet. You need to know the space so well that you're like, I know for sure this is going to work. What do you know will pay you every time? For sure. You. First, get rid of the little think and the old ideas and the middle class mentality. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to save some money. I'm going to put it in the bank. I'm going to give it to the man. What's the bank do? The bank doesn't even keep your money. They hate money. Cash it's trash. Cash is garbage. It's pieces of garbage paper. It is only useful when it is used, if you're taking notes. They didn't teach you this in school. This should have been taught basic, 5th grade, 6th grade, not when in high school or college. Cash, this is a piece of paper, okay? It is a piece of paper, it's worthless. This is a piece of paper. This actually has more value. This piece of paper right here has more value than this piece of paper right here. Why? Because one person has this piece of paper. 2,000 people have this data. You understand? This piece of paper right here is useless, though, until it is used. I walked into Marlin Stadium. I was telling Kevin, I said, God damn, this is beautiful. Beautiful. How many people is this seat? About 30,000, 28, 29,000. I'm like, yeah, but y'all never had that many people here. And they said, yeah, Joel Osteen was here. Joel Osteen had 28,000 people. I said, I'll take the whole place. If Joel can do it, I can do it. Okay? If Joel can do it, I can do it too, right? We were there 5 minutes. I said, I'll take the place. And they're like, when do you want it? Let me see if it's available. I said, I guarantee it's available. And they're like, well, how do you know that? You don't know our schedule. I said, I guarantee you it's available when I want it. And when do you want it? Super Bowl weekend. They're like, yeah, it is available. Because nobody would do an event on Super Bowl weekend. Now, if you can understand why I did that event, because my entire staff, including Jared right here, everyone involved in this event said, do not do Super Bowl weekend. Why would I do Super Bowl weekend? I'm the only person other than the Super Bowl doing an event. There's nobody else doing an event. There's nobody else doing an event. Everybody was worried about the Super Bowl, dude. I just took out the Super Bowl, took out everybody. It got rid of everybody, number one. Number two, if I pull it off, my brand will be lifted up into the heavens as something mystical. Yes. Okay? Amen. So sometimes you don't do things. We made less money on that event with 35,000 people than an event with 10,000. But the brand lift was so unbelievable. Okay? Like, the goal was, hey, Jared, and every day Jared and I were talking. Hey, Jared, if we can pull this off, it wasn't about the money. We pull this off, dude, it's a game changer for the brand, okay? Number one, nobody's ever done this. 35,000 people, Super Bowl weekend. The story's unbelievable. We will have pulled it off ourselves. And every time somebody does an event after this, it'll be like, Tony does an event with 30,000 people? Yeah, but Cardone did 35,000. Yes. You understand? So you want to pick up residual from other people. You want to pick up reminders. Okay, if you can figure out how to use your competition, if they're competition, or collaborate with them. Either way, you want to have their efforts reminding the public the similar of but free advertising. I spent 5 years in college. I went to college because I wanted I thought the teachers were going to teach me business. I love teachers, okay? Teachers are great people, but you can't know business if you're in a classroom. It's just not possible. It's like my economics teacher, there's no way he could imagine the fuel bill on my plane. It's just not real. You go to Lord Sugar and say, hey, how do you make sense of 4 jets? Why would you do that? Why'd you buy that building right there? That's the information I want. See, but most us in this room, we were taught we had to go someplace and spend 4 or 5 years there. I'm not trying to talk you out of school or university, but the fact that it takes 4 years to get out of university by itself is a major problem. It's a major problem. You know why? The 4 years, I'm trading time for money. What do rich people do? They trade money for time. My dad died when I was 10 years old. I had an older brother die when I was 20. By the time I was 21 years old, I was jaded and just figured, hey, life is not going to last very long. And somewhere from before my dad died to 21 years old, in between there, I thought I was going to be a businessman one day. I thought I was going to be rich and successful. And James Bond. Like I had all these ideas. Like when you're a kid, you have all these big, giant ideas. And then life starts, lost dad, lost brother, girlfriend, lose her. Like I start accumulating all these losses. Start using drugs and alcohol, start using them every day, start making bad choices. 25 years old, I was broke. I was in debt, couldn't keep a relationship, had no chance of being married or having kids. It was impossible, right? It was just, none of that was even possible. So I started putting my life back together, but it's really, throughout the period from 25 to today, 35 years now, of me studying people that are successful, that has given me the discipline and the encouragement along the way with some milestones. Like 2008, when the economy collapsed, that was a huge awakening for me. Getting married, another monster awakening. Like it gave me another reason to have a purpose. Being a good role model for my kids, not just talking the talk, but being someone my kids could look up to and say, that's what success looks like. Just having money, just having a couple $1 million, if you're not making a difference, that's one level of success. But for kids, they don't care how much money you have. My kids don't. They don't know that. Well, what does 167 million in cash look like in an account? I remember when a billionaire showed me his cash account. I was like, whoa, $400 million sitting in one account. I'm like, my God. I literally couldn't read the numbers. So my kids don't even care. What my kids do care about, what changes children and what changes friends and what changes your neighbor is what they see you doing every day. And it just so happens it takes money to do things. To fly across the world, to make new friends, to create new charities, to market, to advertise, etc. I made the mistake in my life of studying people that appeared to be successful.
A lot of people are like that.
They appeared to be successful. Today in the times that we live in, you can go on Instagram and it looks like everybody owns a Ferrari, everybody has a Rolls Royce, everybody looks like they're having the best day of their life. That's not studying, that's watching. I want to study people. Or even at conferences, you can go to a conference and watch somebody on stage and he or she could present to like they're so successful, but if you really get behind the scenes, you'll find out there is no success there. It's just a lot of talking. And so I would just strongly suggest to people to pick a handful of people and make sure those people are actually doing, not just saying. That they're not talking about success. They're actually doing success every day.
And how would you know if they're doing?
Well, you would see it in their statistics, right? Like there's some things you can't fake.
Yeah.
You can't fake somebody. We're buying $250 million worth of real estate this month with my money. Hard to fake that. Okay, it's a great Instagram post, by the way, but you can't fake it. There's going to be a loan. There's going to be a building. There's going to be, acres and acres of land. There's going to be people living there. Like, you just can't fake it. So there's a lot of things you can fake. You can make a nice little quote, put it on Instagram. People look at it like that's the truth, And the public is confused with a lot of what appears to be the truth that's not.
True.
And so I would just tell people, study people that have success, that are doing it now. Also, the second thing I would say is make sure that where you're getting your advice from them lines up with where you need advice, right? So Warren Buffett, he's at the tail. He's at the tail of his. He's probably here, right? So here he was doing different things than he's doing here. He talks about investing in stocks, but he actually doesn't do it. He doesn't buy stocks. He buys companies.
Yeah.
So you got to listen to people. Steve Jobs right here was one of the most aggressive business people that this planet's ever seen. I mean, he was barbarian aggressive. So was Bill Gates. But if you talk to Bill Gates today, Bill and Steve's not alive, obviously, but Bill Gates today saying, dude, I'm giving all my money away. Money doesn't matter. That's not what he was saying right here.
Let's talk about when you started working for yourself, because most small businesses fail in the first few years, 1 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Most don't make it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different numbers out there about that. Like 50% of all businesses fail by 7 years. The truth is, they were failing in the first 6 months.
Okay, what do you think they did wrong?
They don't know how to sell anything. I mean, you go to Harvard, Yale, or MIT, they're gonna, if you do studies. Oh, the reason they were undercapitalized. Okay, look, this is completely ridiculous what they're telling you. Okay, you don't capitalize a business and then run out of money. That's not how you do a business, right? This is how Wall Street does a business. They rip people off. They basically go. Most companies developed by Wall Street or in Silicon Valley are complete ripoffs of the investors. You hear about the Netflix that made it. It might not still make it. It's still a negative cash flow business because they don't know how to sell their products fast enough, in quantities big enough, and at prices high enough to basically fund the future. So businesses fail for one reason and one reason only, because you can't sell your products fast enough, in quantities great enough, and at prices high enough to sustain the business.
Yeah.
Thus, Harvard says, oh, they ran out of capital. Yeah. Why? Because they didn't sell their products. So if you can sell products fast enough, if quantity is great enough, Google's a company you don't consider a sales company. Google sells products in quantities that are giant.
Yeah.
It profits margins that are high enough.
I'm a student of observation. I observe things. I remember selling cars, saying this is stupid. First, I learned how to do it. Control the customer, the 12 steps.
Right.
And then I'm like, if I do 12 steps with everybody, I can't get to 30 units a month. And then I'm like, I started skipping steps.
Right.
Because I wanted those 10 car weeks. And the only way to do that was walk out there and just start offering people what they had, what they were going to ask me for anyway.
Right.
Can I get you a price, a payment, a down payment, a monthly payment? Can I get you everything you need?
Right.
I knew that it was just a matter of about 30 seconds. They were going to ask for it all.
No doubt.
So I just basically intercepted the customer, sped up the processes. And then I'm like, man, I started hitting 30, 36 units, 31 units in 14 days. I'm like, dude, this is the way to do it. And then when I lost my job, because the dealer wasn't big enough, didn't think big enough himself, didn't 10X. When I left him, I didn't have any place to go in his company or his organization. I couldn't be a star there. I went out and started teaching that.
Nobody ever taught me when I was going to school, 17 years of school, nobody ever said, hey, maybe you want to stack up some experiences. And then what happens is kids, rather than going to college, what they do today is they'll go travel for a year. Dude, what? You ought to flip it. Go get your work ethic in. Bank some money. I'm going to do this left-handed. Bank some money and then go on the trip of your life. Oh, left-handed, I'm so good. I'm so good at everything. You got to have confidence, man. So look. And the confidence comes from doing stuff. The confidence comes from doing business, not from traveling, right? Like I know people that traveled when they were young and then they go back into the workplace, into the business place, and they're like, dude, I don't have any confidence in business. You want to have confidence in business, confidence in money, confidence with your family, confidence that you can go places. And look, money might not make you happy. I know some of you believe that, but it gives you the security to go where you want, do what you want, and stay as long as you want, if you can get that money right. Before you diversify, go bang on another door.
Yeah.
You need to become the freaking door banging of the universe.
So I want to talk about that, right?
Yeah, can I use that word here?
100%. 100%.
You need to become like, you need to go
door
bang on. Yeah, you need to go bang on a door. They tell you to get out of the neighborhood, and you go figure out how to bang on it again and not get arrested.
Yeah.
Like, if you can figure that gig out, I guarantee you will be the most successful person your genetic code has ever generated.
Yeah.
Anyone in your family, everybody I know says, man, learn how to cold call. I have the career I have today because I learned how to cold call. The one other thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self, look, I own 7 businesses. And I would not tell the 20-year-old Grant to go get six businesses. I would tell him to learn everything he can about real estate. Everything. Real estate is the business that's allowed me to go on these magnificent trips that I'm taking my family on. I've been in business for myself for 30 years. Okay? 6 businesses combined do not allow me to go on these trips. It is the real estate by and of itself that's allowed me to take my wife and kids, employees, partners, friends on these magnificent trips.
Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the Billionaire Mindset question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? Also, if you've already got your Billionaire Mindset Companion PDF calendar, get ready for another amazing video tomorrow. Or if you don't have it yet, you can get it for free in the first line of the description below. And if you're enjoying this Billionaire Mindset series, give me a hashtag Billionaire Mindset in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Reading should not be your priority. Learning should be your priority. There used to be only a small number of ways to learn. It used to only be reading or maybe going to lectures and learning from people, but reading was one of the fastest ways to learn because you could take somebody's life and in one book condense the whole thing, all of the lessons, and here you go, chance to learn. Now though, there's so many different ways to learn. There's podcasts, there's videos, and so you need to understand what is the best way that you learn. Reading does not have to be in your top priority, but learning has to be. The difference between where you are today and where you will be in 5 years, that growth will be in direct relation to how much you learn, how much you feed this brain right here with knowledge that shifts the way you think, but it doesn't have to come from reading. So looking at my story as an example, I used to read all the time. Growing up, I used to read. I'm 39 now, so I used to read a lot. Growing up, it was the only way to learn. And the idea of being able to look at any famous entrepreneur and look at their story and how they got started, that was a lot of knowledge. That allows you to step into somebody's world, right? If you don't like your environment, you don't like the people around you, you don't want to become your parents or the people in your community, you want something better, you want something bigger, then you need to start to surround yourself with those people. And reading is a great way to step into their world. And so I used to read every single week. Not quite every day, but almost. I was reading a lot. I was voracious. But as soon as video came out, I quickly shifted. I would much rather watch a video than read a book. I just learn better that way. I would much rather have an Elon Musk video and watch him and see him tell his story and look at the body language than I would reading a book about somebody else telling Elon Musk's story. That's me. That's how I learn. I listen to 0 podcasts because auditory is the slowest way for me to learn. If it was the only way, if the only way to learn was to listen to podcasts, and I would be all over it and I would force myself to do it because I love learning. But because there's so many different options and I love video first, I default to learning through video like this. Videos like this on my multiple channels. And so video is by far #1 for me, and I consume video pretty much every single day of my life. Number 2 would be reading, and a huge drop down to number 2. I'll read maybe 3 to 4 books a year. And then number 3 would be auditory, which would be podcasts, and I consume 0 podcasts. I don't know that I've listened to an entire podcast all the way through. It would have to be some person that I can't find the video or a book on, and the only information, the only way to get it is to listen to a podcast. So the point of all this is not to slam on podcasts or audiobooks. I have my own audiobook. I read it myself. It's fire. If you love learning from auditory, then you should go and go all in on that. The point is to prioritize learning. You need to have learning as a regular part of your life. If you do not learn consistently, then you will end up in the same spot you are, right? You will be in the same spot you are in 5 years if you do not learn. But it's figuring out where do you learn best and going all in on that strategy. So what's the best way for you to learn? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is, who do you want to learn from? You want to learn from people who've done more than you have in a certain field or industry, right? If you want to learn to be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better entrepreneur, a better salesperson, a better marketer, who's the person that you want to learn from? And it doesn't mean you have to become that person. The goal isn't to be the next Steve Jobs. It's to learn one thing from Steve Jobs that makes you a better version of you. So who is the person that you most want to learn from right now? Step number 2 is identify, how do you learn best? How do you learn best? I don't care what other people are doing. Do you learn best through videos? Do you learn best through reading? Or do you learn best through auditory, listening to podcasts and audiobooks? How do you learn best? And then number 3 is create a regular learning schedule. If you know who you want to learn from, the types of people, and you know your learning style, then what's your ongoing regular learning schedule? It has to be in your week, every single week. Whether that's a daily thing, whether you make that part of your daily routine, I'm a big fan of that. Otherwise, it's got to be somewhere in your week. You will never learn the material that you want to learn. You will never be able to emulate and model somebody else's success to turn you into the best version of yourself if you don't have that as a part of your regular week, right? Your actions need to map to your ambitions. What's in your calendar has to map to you accomplishing the goals that you want. If you just have goals, if you just want to learn, you want to become that person, but it's not in your schedule anywhere, you're never going to become it.
I'm going to teach you a mindset hack that if you can learn to apply, will help you eliminate your self-doubt, your fears, your insecurities, and step forward confidently into whatever situation you get yourself into. And it's this: you teach yourself that you can learn anything. You can learn anything. You may not have the answers right now. You may not know how to do the crazy thing that you want to do. You've got big goals, big dreams, big ambitions. You want to do something big. That's why you're watching this channel, right? You're part of Believe Nation. You want to do something big with your life. I love it. You don't know how to do it. You teach yourself, I can learn anything. Because what we often struggle with is you want to do something, you know you can't do it yet, and then you associate with that, I suck. I can't do something, so I suck. And that attack on your self-worth, on your self-confidence, on your self-esteem prevents you from actually going off and creating something amazing, right? I think you're a genius. I think you have Michael Jordan level talent at something. I believe that. I don't just say it in videos. I believe that that's true. So whatever you're stuck on, instead of making yourself feel like you suck, that you're not good enough, that you're not capable of it, understand that it's just a skill set that's missing. The difference between where you're at right now and where you want to be is the skills that you acquire and then the action that you're taking. You're willing to take action. Problem is you probably don't have the skills yet to be where you want to be. That's okay. You tell yourself, I can learn anything. Learning becomes your superpower. I had a guy on my Instagram Live not that long ago, and he was talking about becoming a digital marketer. And he was asking me, what place do I sign up for a degree for digital marketing, and is it worth getting a degree for digital marketing because I want to be a digital marketer. I want to sell my digital marketing services to entrepreneurs. There are some fields where having a degree is really important. Digital marketing is not one of them. Going to, I don't even know if you can get that in university, but going to take somebody's digital marketing certification is not going to be helpful for you in terms of getting new clients. You might learn some new skills that you can use to get new clients, but he was putting too much stock in the paper. His belief was in the paper that because he was going to get this certification that says that he was a digital marketer, that would help him get more clients. Now, if you're going to get a law degree or an accounting degree or something official, professionals, then great. Yes, you can't become a lawyer without going to law school, right? But digital marketing, if they're teaching out of school, it's already outdated.
digital marketing that's changing on the fly. Look at what I'm doing on my YouTube channel. If I was to teach a course at a YouTube conference a year ago, it would be different. That's why in my YouTube Growth Bootcamp, I update it constantly with the new things that I'm learning because it changed from 1 year ago. Textbooks are written like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 longer years ago. So apply to digital marketing, it's already out of date. But the problem with the guy who called in on my IG Live was his faith, his trust was in the paper. That having the paper, having the degree would help him get credibility and close clients. His trust, your faith needs to be in yourself. It needs to be in you and your ability to learn, not in your abilities that you have right now, because you don't have the abilities yet to do the thing that you want to do. You're not capable yet. If you were capable, you would have done it. You're not ready yet. That's okay, but you're able to learn. You can learn anything. So whenever you're in fear and insecurity, in doubt, you're not sure what to do, don't take it personally. Don't say, I suck as a human because I don't have this skill set. You can learn anything. Remind yourself of it. And then you need to create a customized program for you. You need to create your own university, your own learning program, so that every day you're slowly acquiring that skill, that knowledge set that you're missing. It's why I created the 254 series, where every day for 254 days you get a new video on a topic. That if you want more confidence, if you want more self-love, you want more motivation, you want to be a writer, we've got lots of different topics. There's hopefully something there for you. But even though I may not have made it yet, right? I made a whole bunch and they're free for you. But if I didn't make it, you go make your own. My YouTube channel is my own. That every day I want more belief in my life, and so I created the channels for that. And hopefully that spreads and you guys like it. You're getting more belief with every video too. But you need to create your own program. Every day, whatever the skill set is that you want to learn, that is the only gap between where you are and where you want to be. Because you're willing to take action, you just don't have the skill sets yet. But you're willing to learn and you're able to learn anything. You can learn anything. That needs to be on loop in your head. I can learn anything. I don't know how to do it yet, but I can learn anything. And then apply it. So every day, what are you going to be learning? Every day, what video are you going to watch? What book are you going to read? What podcast are you going to listen to? How are you going to learn? Who are you going to reach out to? Who's done the thing that you want to do, and how can you learn from them and apply it? Every day. There's never been more information out there. There's never been more thought leaders, experts, people who've succeeded sharing their tips, their advice, their knowledge, their feedback. And you can start for free. Before you go and hire somebody as a coach, or you drop thousands of dollars on somebody's mastermind, consume their content for free. YouTube videos are free. Podcasts are free. Buy their book. It's going to cost $20, $25, right? Invest small. Make sure you're getting knowledge that helps. Make sure you're getting knowledge that when you apply it works. And then you can start spending more. But you need to see a return on investment for every dollar you put in, for all the mentors that you pick, your time and the money that you're putting in. You're a genius. I'm a little frustrated because I love you and I want to see you win. And I see so many talented people in Believe Nation with great ideas, great ambition, and great heart. Great heart. Like, you want to do great things for the right reasons and serve the world. You just haven't learned the skills yet. And so you remind yourself, I can learn anything. Whatever problem in front of me right now, I don't have the skill sets yet, then I can learn anything.
The people who are telling you that your idea won't work are not the people whose life that you want. So why are you listening to them? Your Uncle Joe, your Aunt Susan, the rest of your family, the people who you grew up with from high school, look at their life. Look at their life right now. Take away their words and what they're telling you, remove the emotion from it. Look at their life. Do you want a life like theirs? Because their advice will lead to a life like theirs. If not, then you probably should be doing the exact opposite of what they're telling you to do. Now, I think there's two types of people who will give you negative feedback. You got the haters, and then you got the people who are just ignorant. And there's a big difference between those two. So let's start with the haters. The haters, I call the little man, the haters, their entire role in their life is to bring other people down. Maybe they took their shot. This is actually quite frequent. They took their shot, they tried, they didn't work, they failed, and so now nobody around them can be successful. They get their value, they get their self-love by destroying other people because it makes them feel better about themselves. It's like watching some train wreck on reality TV show right? Watching relationships and lives fall apart because it makes you feel better about your life. You feel better about your life when you see somebody else's life be a total mess, right? Those are the haters. Now, how do you deal with them? It starts by understanding that if you believe, like I believe, that humans are built to serve, right? People are built to serve. You want to do good. People are good, right? Both of those things. Humans are good and we're built to serve. Then what would get somebody who is good and built to serve to leave a nasty, negative comment or to tell you that you suck or your deal is not going to work out? What would drive them to do it? They really hate their life, right? Like empathy is the first step. Just feeling bad for them, not sympathy and using that as a negative against them. Not saying, well, your life sucks, so I'm not gonna. That's not gonna help anything. It's actual, genuine empathy. If the highlight of somebody's day is coming to this video and leaving a negative comment, it's okay. I feel bad for that person. If that's the highlight of your day, then you must be in a really rough spot if you believe that people are good and they're built to serve. And so what that does is remove the sting out of the comment. When somebody is raging on you that you suck and that your idea is never going to work, having empathy to understand, wow, this person is likely in a really tough spot, that removes the sting out of the words and allows you to then be more practical, less emotional. To respond emotionally and feel like, oh my God, maybe they're right. Maybe they have a point. Maybe I do suck. Say, wait a minute. This person, they hate their life. Why am I listening to them? Right? Just like the wake up call out of the head game that you're in. Listening to their advice. So those are the haters. Remove the sting and then allow you to make a practical decision. The second part are the people who are ignorant. They're your friends, your family, the people around you who they actually love you, right? Chances are your parents love you. Your mom probably loves you, right? Most moms love their kids. Your parents probably love you. So why would they be telling you not to go do something? Why would they be telling you advice against what you want to hear? Because they grew up in a different era. Your parents are pilgrims. Your parents don't understand the world that exists. Your parents don't understand that you can have a full-time business from this. It doesn't make sense. When your parents were your age, they couldn't do the things that you can do. So they want you to be successful. The people around you who love you want you to be successful. They have a different definition of success. Success to them looks different than it does for you because they're from a different era. And that's okay. Again, starting point is empathy. Understand that these words that are coming out of their mouth is love. They're trying to express love. They're concerned for you. They want you to win. They just have a different version of what winning looks like. And so when you're dealing with parents or friends or family, chances are the thing that you're great at, Michael Jordan level talent at, the thing that you want, is not the thing that your family does. And so it takes a lot of courage and strength to say, here's what my family does, here's what my community does, here's what my friends are doing, I want to be doing this. That's hard. That takes a lot of strength and courage. And then these people, they don't want to see you go off and do that because they want you to stay here. They want you to stay in their community. What does it say about them if you're off doing something else, right? It's their own fears and insecurities. Because if you go off and have success over here, it makes them feel bad about themselves. They start to doubt themselves and what they're doing. They don't want to do that. So having empathy, right? Understanding that. And then especially if dealing with parents, I'm going harder on the parents because I get so many entrepreneurs who are asking me about how to deal with my parents. When you are trying to pitch your idea and say, here's what I want to do, and you are absolutely convinced that it's going to work, guess what's going to happen? Your parents or the people who love you will double down on why it's not the thing to do. If you say, I'm going to go be a YouTuber, right? Great. I want to be a full-time YouTuber. And you can say, well, look at all these people who've had successful careers as full-time YouTubers. You go tell them that, they can say, that's crazy, don't be a YouTuber. You go get a job, go be a lawyer. Like that's safe, that's stable, go into real estate, that's what you should be doing. Don't go be a YouTuber, that's crazy. The more certain you are in it, the more they're gonna think you're crazy and they're gonna double down on it. The more you think, of course it's gonna work out, what are you talking about? Why don't you support me, right? If you're fighting, why don't you love me? Why don't you support me? Why don't you encourage me? Look at all these people having success, of course I can do it. What, don't you believe in me? The more you attack them and are certain in your position, the more they're gonna build up their walls and be more certain in their position because they think this person doesn't understand what's happening. This person is so blind, how do you not see this thing? On the other hand, if you approached it from a softer side, if you said, listen, I don't know if it's gonna work out. I know a lot of people try and don't work out in business. A lot of entrepreneurs never make it. I'm afraid that it won't work. But I have to try. I have to try because I know that if I don't try, I'm gonna regret it. I'm gonna get to the end of my life and I'm gonna regret not having taken my shot. And I don't wanna look back on my life and say, this was my moment to try and I was too afraid. I don't wanna be afraid. I would rather know and fail than not know. And I'm scared. And I hope you can understand that and support that. That's a lot easier for somebody to come down and say, okay, I understand. You're not attacking them. You're leaning on vulnerability and your fears and insecurities more than on certainty that this is gonna work. And it's likely gonna lead to a much healthier relationship and healthier conversation. Now, it doesn't mean that they're automatically gonna accept you and yes, that's what you're gonna do. And then you have to decide, are you gonna live your life or your parents' version of your life? Your family's version of your life? Your community's version of your life? When you get to decide that it's your life. When you're 4 years old, you don't have a choice, right? You do what your parents tell you to do. When you become an adult though, what is it 14? Is it 16? Is it 20? Is it 25? Is it 32? Are you gonna be 50 and still doing what your parents want you to do? Like at what age you get to decide? Are you gonna say, this is my life and I'm gonna live my life, and if people support me, great, and if not, I'm gonna be an army of one and I'm gonna will it into existence. So if you're an entrepreneur doing crazy, amazing things, you got this vision, you want to change the world, you want to serve, you want to have an impact, you want to make money, you're going to be faced with a lot of people who will criticize you because you want to disrupt the status quo, do something different. There's a lot of people who don't want you to do something different. They like the status quo. They want you to just fit inside the status quo. Fit inside this perfect puzzle piece, sit in your box, and you're good to go, right? A lot of people who want that for you. And over that course of you building your amazing dream business, you're gonna get faced with both kinds of people giving you negative feedback, the haters and the people who are just ignorant. And learning to start with empathy, understand where they're coming from, and then deal with it in a way that is empowering, using the strategies I gave you, will give you more confidence and courage and positivity and energy and optimism to move forward, because you need it. Because building a business is crazy tough, crazy hard, and you need all the support you can get. And if at the end of the day you still have nobody who supports you, you can come on back to Believe Nation, because we're here every day. There's a lot of love from me, but also you guys in the comments, in the community. You can share your thoughts, share what you're going through, and chances are you have somebody who will help you, who will be a guiding support, who will listen to you and support you as well. If you want to sign up for the entire Billionaire Mindset series for free and get the companion bonus PDF calendar, check the link right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.